Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. Buckle up, as it's a long one, and don't forget to listen to the end of the story to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, guys, and please like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 24 male, have been dealing with a lot of complicated emotions recently, and I need some perspective. When I was 10 years old, my mother told my father and me that she had a job interview in another state and had to leave for a few days. Those few days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and we eventually learned she had run away with my father's cousin, starting a new life in another state. She never contacted me after she left. My father was devastated, and I was left heartbroken and confused. My father did his best to raise me alone. Despite the pain and betrayal, he poured all his love and effort into being a good father. We became very close, and he worked hard to provide for us. However, 2 years ago, he suddenly passed away due to a heart attack. I was left alone, and with no immediate family nearby, I moved in with my grandparents. They've been a great support system, helping me navigate through the grief and anger of losing my father and being abandoned by my mother. A few weeks ago, out of nowhere, my mother showed up at my doorstep with 2 kids in tow. She introduced them as my half-siblings and said she wanted me in their lives. She claimed that it was my father who never allowed her near me, which is not true. And now, when he's gone, we can be a family again. The audacity of her to just reappear after all those years, expecting everything to be fine, was too much for me to handle. I laughed in her face and shut the door on her. I didn't know what else to do. The shock and gall of her actions left me speechless. I thought that would be the end of it, but she contacted me again. This time, her tone was different. She wasn't asking for a relationship. She was asking for money. She claimed that as my father's ex-wife, she had a right to his inheritance and needed the money to buy a bigger house for her children. She painted a pitiful picture of their life in a one-bedroom apartment, saying the kids deserved better and implying that I was the key to making that happen. I was furious. My father's inheritance has been my safety net, helping me get through college and plan for my future, not for her affair children. The idea that she could abandon me, live her life without a second thought for over a decade, and then come back demanding money was infuriating. She had never once reached out to see how I was doing, never offered any support after my father passed, and now she suddenly cared because she needed something. I'm pretty sure I'm not an a-hole here, but I wanted to hear your opinion. Am I an a-hole for not giving my mother my late father's inheritance so she can provide a better life for her children? Update. After my mother's last message, I decided to get some legal advice. I spoke to a lawyer about the situation, and they confirmed what many of you have said. She has no claim to my father's inheritance. My father's will clearly stated that everything was to go to me, and as they were divorced when he passed, she has no legal right to any of it. I sent her a final message, making it clear that she has no claim to the inheritance and that I wanted no further contact. I told her that she made her choices years ago, and now she has to live with the consequences. The whole ordeal has been emotionally draining, but I feel a sense of closure now that I've taken a firm stand. My grandparents were incredibly supportive through all of this. They reminded me that I am not obligated to forgive her or to let her back into my life, especially after everything she's done. Later, I found out through a mutual acquaintance that my mother and her new family were struggling more than she let on. They were on the brink of eviction, and her request for my father's inheritance was a desperate attempt to keep a roof over their heads. While part of me felt sorry for the children's situation, because they are innocent in all of this, they didn't choose their mother, and they're stuck in a difficult situation. But I also know that I need to protect myself first. Maybe one day when I've healed more, and if they reach out independently, I'll consider a relationship with them. But for now, I need to focus on my own well-being. My mother had made her choices, and those choices had consequences. Recently, I received a letter from my mother. It was a long emotional plea, filled with apologies and justifications for her actions. She begged for forgiveness, for a chance to be a part of my life again, and for help with her financial situation. It was hard to read, and it reopened old wounds. I sent back a brief reply, reiterating that she has no claim to my father's inheritance, and that I want no further contact. I wished her well, but made it clear that I was moving on with my life. However, my mother now claims that one of her children is actually my father's. She says she's kept this secret all these years and that this child has a right to my father's inheritance. She has threatened to take me to court if I don't give her the money, arguing that she needs it to provide a better life for her children, especially the one she claims is my half-sibling by blood. I was stunned. My father's will was clear, and this new claim feels like a desperate attempt to manipulate and extort me. But from the other side, what if she's telling the truth? So I contacted my lawyer again, who advised me to just sit and wait and see if she follows through with her threat. The whole situation is a nightmare, reopening old wounds I thought were beginning to heal. Anyway, after a lot of thinking, I decided to contact her current husband, my dad's cousin. Yes, they're still together, and inform him about my mother's claims. I felt he had a right to know what she was saying and how it could affect all of us. It turns out, this blew up in a way none of us expected. Her husband decided to get a paternity test for their children, and it revealed that the child was not his. But it didn't stop there. The test also showed that the child wasn't my father's either. Oh boy, looks like my mother's in trouble. Now my mother's life is in shambles. Her husband is furious and wants a divorce. She's now blaming me for ruining her family, saying that if I had just given her the money, none of this would have happened. But honestly, I see this as karma coming back to bite her. She caused so much pain and chaos in my life, and now she's facing the consequences of her actions. Wow, the audacity of some people. She left OP and OP's dad to be with his cousin, and now wants money from OP? Of course OP is not in the wrong. She's only coming back into OP's life because she needs something. OP owes her nothing. Those kids may be innocent, but their well-being is her responsibility, not OP's. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Not the a-hole. Your mother abandoned you and your father, and now she has the nerve to come back demanding money? She made her bed, and now she has to lie in it. It's not your responsibility to fix her life, especially when she didn't care about yours for so long. Stay strong and focus on your future. You are absolutely not the a-hole. She doesn't have any right to your father's inheritance, especially after abandoning you both. Good for you for standing your ground. Focus on your future, and don't let her manipulate you. It sounds like you have a good head on your shoulders and supportive grandparents. Lean on them and keep moving forward. I feel bad for your half-siblings, but you're not obligated to help them. They're a result of her choices, not yours. Not the a-hole. Stay strong and continue to protect yourself. You deserve peace and stability after everything you've been through. Maybe in the future, you can build a relationship with your half-siblings if you want, but right now, focus on your healing. Growing up, my dad stayed at home while my mom worked. While my mom financially provided for my sister and myself, she was emotionally hands-off. She came to a ballet recital here and there, but didn't want to help with homework, didn't want to listen when we needed advice, etc. Our dad did 95% of the emotional labor. I later found out from my mom that my dad was the one who wanted kids. She loved her career and didn't mind providing financially, but she did not want to do any of the stuff related to raising us outside of that. I'm very grateful she provided for us financially, but I do admit it hurts that she wasn't there when we needed her. She was physically present, but not emotionally present. Edit. As this has come up, to be clear, the arrangement was my mother's idea, not my father's. That being said, I do agree that my father was equally as selfish for making this arrangement. My dad always did grand gestures for her. Mother's Day was always a big deal with huge brunch, flowers, gifts. She was spoiled. She did nothing for him on Father's Day. He had to do everything for himself until my sister and I were old enough to do stuff for him. I get that was the arrangement they had, but I know it made my dad sad. I once asked why he didn't get the same hoopla our mom got, and he just sadly said, Father's Day isn't as important as Mother's Day. As adults, my sister and I have tried to rectify it. We do Father's Day up big, and our dad loves it. We grill for him, just how he taught us, and throw a huge barbecue with some other family members. However, we've turned Mother's Day very low-key. We still celebrate our mom, but she usually gets a quiet lunch at a restaurant of her choice and a few gifts. After my mom ended up skipping my sister's baby shower this year because she didn't see the big deal that someone's having a baby, my sister wanted to do nothing for her. We sent gifts, but spent Mother's Day with each other, our husbands, and our own kids. My mom told us after Father's Day that she was hurt we didn't do more for her in recent years. I said that since she put in almost no emotional labor into raising us, we're putting none into her. She said that our father and I had an agreement. I pointed out that yes, but we never agreed to it, and it wasn't fair that we grew up with an emotionally absent mother who didn't want us. And to be fair, we've had this conversation with our dad as well, and he admits it wasn't fair to us either. I also said if she didn't want kids, then why should she be celebrated as a mom? My mom is upset with both of us and called us ungrateful brats. My dad feels bad for her, but supports our choice. Am I the a-hole? Edit. To those asking how I'd feel if my dad were the one who acted like this, how I feel about dads who do this in general. They suck just as much, and it's not fair to the kids, regardless of whatever agreement spouses come to. This is not gender specific. While some people may have a gender bias, I do not. Even disregarding how you all were raised and your parents' agreement about that, you're adults now, and your mom is still not giving either of you any care. She can't be bothered to attend your daughter's baby shower, but thinks you all should make a fuss over her for Mother's Day. Nope, not how that works. I would give her as much energy as she gives you, which would free up a lot of your time, money, and energy. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. I'm so sorry. If you can afford it, therapy may help. It is best for childhood trauma so that you don't bring it into your adult relationships and your relationships with your children. Dang, this is so sad, and it seems like everyone here is a victim of this situation in some way. Ultimately, not the a-hole. I feel your mom got her part of the bargain from your dad when you were growing up, and it's not on you to keep that going for a parent you don't feel that close to. Hi, first time posting on one of these subreddits, so I hope this is a good one. A little insight. I'm a Chinese Canadian. I came to Canada when I was 1, so I'm pretty much a full Canadian. My family worked extremely hard to get where they were. My mom started in sandwich shops, and my father was studying English at a university. My grandparents, uncles, and aunts are all quite different from me, as they are more inclined to Chinese tradition and such, which I respect. My cousins and I are not actually academically very strong, which is quite an issue within my family. I am the best, but compared to my cousins, it is not saying much. Anyways, my cousin, whom we'll title EK, has some of the lowest grades in China. No respect to the family, nor any maturity. I recently went back to China for training and to visit my grandmother, who is extremely sick. My grandmother is getting quite old now, and she needs to be with care people since my uncle and aunt are both working during the day. This is the story. Enter EK, slamming door behind him. EK. Mom, Dad, the people at work ducking suck. Aunt. You've only worked there for 1 day. Give them a chance. EK. They expect me to greet these nasty people and only pay me $25 an hour. Uncle. Respect working more. Not a lot of people get an opportunity to get paid $25 an hour. EK. I don't ducking care. I'm quitting and that's that. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting there teaching my grandmother how to solve a Rubik's Cube. EK. Oh, hey cousin, you back from Canada? Me. Yeah, how have you been? My cousin doesn't even respond. He walks up to my grandmother and puts a ducking tissue box on her head. My grandmother is super confused about what's happening. EK. Grandma, you got something on your head. Me. Hey dude, she can't get it off by herself. I take the box off. EK. Yeah, you should help her with it, seeing that all we ever do is help you when you come back to China. Now, I'm quite confused. Sure, they invite me over to eat and commemorate his family, but I don't even live with them. I live with my coach. I choose not to say anything because I don't want to disrespect my aunt and uncle. Anyways, here's where the story gets interesting. I come home to Canada, and my first message from everyone else is asking me if I got home safely, and my whereabouts for the next time I'm coming back to China. Not my cousin. EK. Hey cousin, me and my friends are planning to head to Canada to visit in a few weeks. Me. Cool, I'll see you then. EK. Do you mind giving me your car and $5,000? Me. What? No, I'm starting school soon and I don't have that kind of money. EK. Yeah, you do. Your parents make so much money and we're family, so you should totally give me some. It's only $5,000. Me. Don't you work? Why don't you just use some of your money to pay for your expense? EK. But we're family. Me. Yeah, but I don't ask you for a car and $5,000 when I visit China. My cousin stops texting me, and I don't hear from him until a week later. My aunt calls me. Aunt: Hi, me. EK just told me that you were planning on giving him $5,000 and a car for when he comes to Canada. Me: I never said that. Aunt: I thought so. I'm so sorry, me. I knew he was greedy, but not this greedy. Me: That's okay. I can try to help him out when he comes to Canada, though. I'll take him around town when I'm not at school. EK grabs my aunt's phone and screams into it. EK: You told me that you would give me $5,000 and a car. You think that I want you as a tour guide? Me: I never said that. I can still try to help you. EK: I do not want your help. I want $5,000 and a car. Me: I can't really do that, but when you come over, I'll let you drive my car when I'm not using it. EK: We are family, and you ducking treat me like this? You have no respect for your family at all. You are vermin. My aunt grabs the phone, quickly apologizes to me, and hangs up. Then, in an hour, texts me that my cousin is no longer coming to Canada, and I should just focus on my studies. Thank God I'm not going back to China next year. Send him a Matchbox car and Monopoly money. This situation is really messing with my head, and at this point, my own mother and grandmother are near enough attempting to bribe me to stay quiet. So I, 20 female, am one of 4, or so I believed until a few days ago. There is me, my twin brother, Eddie, 20 male, and 2 older half-siblings, Reuben, 24 male, and Grace, 23 female. Reuben is my mom's first child, and Grace is my dad's, 45 male, first also. So around 2 years ago, our grandmother on my mom's side had cancer, and my mom went and moved in with her for a while to help and care for her. We didn't see her throughout this whole time, as my grandmother lives halfway across the country. Plus, at the time, I and my bro was busy with last year's school exams, and Reuben was staying with his dad in England, so nobody could go out to visit, not even Dad, to see his wife, because he was really busy with work himself. Mom was gone for a total of 6 months, and when she got back, she had changed. She seemed very sad and would constantly be all over me and my brother. I assume she just missed us while she was gone. 2 years passed since then, and on a visit home, when doing things around the house, I knocked over my mom's handbag and everything fell out. Naturally, I cleaned up, but in my mom's wallet was a picture sticking out of her with a newborn baby in a hospital bed. I was confused at first and thought maybe it was her with me or one of my brothers as babies, but it was dated from the time she was away with my gran. I ended up confronting my mom about it, and she froze at first, but then tried brushing me off and changing the subject, but I wouldn't let her. I wanted to know why she was in a hospital bed with a baby around the time she was gone. Either she tell me, or I show Dad, I told her. That's when she started crying and told me everything. She had an affair with another man that's not my dad. She started her affair in 2018, got knocked up in 2019, and gave birth early 2020. I have a baby brother. She had a secret baby and nobody noticed. My gran knew and covered for her. She never had cancer, and she just lied about the chemo and surgeries. How could I be so stupid? I'm so angry with her. I asked her about the pregnancy and the other man. Turns out, she didn't go to my gran's to have the baby, but just the other end of town to her affair partner's house, and just didn't leave his house. And what's worse is that the affair partner was 24 at the time with 2 kids already. But at least he was single. She stayed with her affair partner and his kids while going through her pregnancy and left the baby with him. I asked more about this man, looked him up, and I know him. He is the son of a family friend, and I've seen him around town with my baby brother and didn't even know it. I've not been doing well since finding all this out. My mom keeps trying to talk to me, but I either lock her out of the room I'm in or be around my dad, so she can't talk about it. And whenever she does get a chance to talk to me, she does whatever she can to try to keep me quiet. Even tried bribing me with money or shopping trips, and even got my gran to try and guilt trip me. I don't know what to do. Does anyone have any experience with stuff like this? Any advice they can give me? Do I reach out to this man and ask about my brother? Do I tell my dad? I don't even know if she's still continuing the affair or if she's in my brother's life at all. This is going to destroy your family. If you choose not to tell your dad, it'll eat you up inside, and you'll start to hate your mother and distance yourself from her. If you tell your dad, he'll most likely flip the duck out and leave her. Honestly, your mother is the worst. She deserves everything that comes to her. She cheated on your dad, had a ducking child, and lied to everyone about it. And even worse, the person she ducked around with is a family friend. Sorry, but she's a pretty horrible person. Tell your dad. Otherwise, you will become part of your mom's betrayal. Don't give your mom a chance to tell him first. She will just pressure you or spin a lie to avoid confronting her infidelity. Sit him down with a sibling and tell him what you've learned. Allow him to be sad and break down in front of you. Advise him to take steps to protect himself before he confronts your mother. Tell him to go see a lawyer and learn what divorce looks like for him. It's incredibly important to be informed. Follow the lawyer's advice, re, evidence, money, assets, etc. No booze, no sex, STD check, DNA tests for all kids. Don't leave his home. Make her leave if he needs space. Get IC for him to help him deal with emotions and pain. Shock her out of affair fog with divorce papers. He can decide to D or reconcile after she's been served. Once served, tell his close friends and family so they can provide support for him. Cut grandma out. My thoughts are, think of this as you were in your dad's position. Would you want to know? If so, then that should answer everything. Update. Everyone I have spoken with all told me to tell my dad, and that's what I did. At first, he was in complete and utter denial, and even when I showed him the picture of my mom with my secret baby brother and used the texts my mom and Gran sent me as proof, I had never seen him cry before, ever. Not even when my uncle died a few years ago, I never saw him tear up. Eventually, my mom came home and my dad just screamed and shouted at her. It was awful. I showed everything to my brothers and sister, and my half-sister actually got into a physical fight with my mom. I felt so guilty about saying all this. Mom has gone to my grandma's, neither of my brothers are talking to her, and when it got out who my mom's affair partner was, my mom's friends group kinda disowned her in a way, as he, 26 male, was the son of one of her close friends who actually had kids. I wish I could just go back to not knowing about any of this. I don't think my family will ever recover. My older half-brother is in England and is adamant on staying there. My brother is angry with mom and isn't speaking to her either. Dad is just crying and saying he's going to hire a cutthroat lawyer to divorce my mom. And mom is distraught, blaming me, but is demanding I talk to her, as she doesn't want to lose any more of her children. My family is low-key wealthy, but my parents have made sure that we are never flashy about it. We live in the same place we've lived for about 15 years, don't have flashy clothes or cars, and generally make sure we're spending money on experiences rather than objects. Q, my younger sister, who is totally spoiled and for some reason feels extremely entitled to her share of the wealth. She just turned 21, and I think part of it is her finally getting information about her trust and, in general, how we stand. I'm 25 and the older one, so I sorta know about all this for a while. Anyway, long story short, my sister ended up going car shopping with my girlfriend for expensive new cars. Porsches. My dad had not approved anything, so I don't know what she's going to do, but apparently, she flashed my dad's credit card and talked up the salesman about how much money she has to spend. My girlfriend was shocked that me driving a simple, unassuming 10-year-old Lexus will have a sister throwing $100K at a car. We had a huge discussion and ended up fighting about it. She was shocked at roughly how much money we had and told me I was a tad selfish for not mentioning it when she had college and medical debt. Honestly, we've only been dating for 2 years, and I was thinking after about a year I would propose, if things are going well, and start this discussion. It's all happened a little too soon. I'm really mad at my sister and kinda laid it out to her. Told her how immature and selfish she was, and how she is undoing everything our parents worked hard for to install values in us. She told me I had to grow up, and I'm a wet blanket. Am I the a-hole here? Not the a-hole. If you were to get married at some point in the future, a nice wedding gift might be paying off her debt. But right now, you aren't even engaged. You may even go your own way. even without the money revelation. Are you supposed to pay off debt for everyone you date? Absolutely not. As for your sister, and now your girlfriend, being obsessed with money and things, you need to take a step back from them both. Does your girlfriend see you differently now? Or was she still dealing with the surprise? And your sister, if she's just gotten her trust and is already spending that much on a car, be prepared for her to come to you for money when she blows through hers before she hits 25. Everyone sucks here. Your girlfriend sucks because she expects you to pay for her debts. But you suck because you hadn't disclosed info after 2 years and got mad at your sister. Honestly, your sister is spoiled as hell, but if her parents are willing to pay for it, then so be it. Plus, it seems like you are only mad at your sister because your girlfriend found out about how much money you guys have. So I, 21 female, currently live at home with my mom and 4 siblings, 18 female, 17 female, 13 male, 11 female, and am hoping to move out around April or May. My mom is struggling at the moment with finances and I help pay rent. I pay between $110 and $170 per week. She has a job and is getting child support money from my dad and help from the government, but will lose quite a bit of money once one of my siblings turns 18 in May. The problem is, my 18-year-old sister is refusing to get a job and will not listen to us when we explain why she needs one, due to her having anxiety. Now, I understand completely that getting a job is a scary thing, and I felt the same way when I got my job. But all she does is sit around the house and does nothing to help my mom in any way. My mom says I should just move out like I planned and not to worry about her, cause she will sort it out. But I got into an argument with her about it, cause of course I'm gonna worry about my mom and siblings if they can't afford to live. So told my sister that she needs to get a job before April so I can move out. My sister just yelled at me not to pressure her, cause she's heard it before, and that getting a job gives her anxiety. In a fit of rage, I said that her anxiety is no excuse, and if she doesn't get a job, they are all going to end up homeless, which isn't far off the truth. My sister ended up crying cause that was stressing her out too. My mom took my sister's side, and she said that I shouldn't have yelled at her about the situation, and I got really mad because my mom is letting her get away with not helping pay rent. But when I was unemployed, I was pressured every day to get a job. Am I the a-hole? Mild, yes, the a-hole. Very, very mild. This is your mother's issue to sort out. Leave it to her. It's her job as a parent to sort out how best to guide each child into adulthood. For one child, it may be getting a job. For another, education. For a third, support and treatment for anxiety. And your mother is right. You need to focus on building your own life as a young adult, not on supporting her and your siblings. It's good to see a parent focused on this. We get too many posts of parents wanting to tie down their older children to care for and support younger ones. Yes, the a-hole all around. Why? Because A, it isn't the kid's job to make sure rent is paid. That's mom's job. And B, if you don't suffer from severe anxiety, you have no idea what it's like or how crippling it can be. The same can be said about any mental illness. If you don't have it, you don't get the right to decide how bad it is.